Hello, dear friends. Today I will bring you a story that you will surely love. Prepare your seats, fasten your seatbelts, and let's explore the story together right now. It was supposed to be just another evening, dinner with my partner and their family. We had been married for 2 years, and while things weren't perfect, I thought we were solid enough to face anything together. Little did I know this night would unravel everything. The restaurant was upscale, almost too fancy for my liking. As I scanned the glittering chandeliers and impeccably dressed waitstaff, I couldn't help but think about the hefty bill this dinner would incur. My partner, Emma, had invited her parents, her brother, and his fiancée, making it a table of 6. When the menus arrived, the prices jumped out at me immediately. I thought to myself, why does it always have to be the most expensive place? But I bit my tongue. I didn't want to ruin the atmosphere. Instead, I tried to focus on the conversations, nodding politely as Emma's father launched into a series of stories I'd heard countless times before. When the food finally came, I noticed Emma giving me pointed glances. Something was clearly on her mind, but I chose to ignore it, hoping she'd bring it up privately later. The real drama began when the waiter placed the check on the table. "Can you hand me your card?" Emma asked casually, but her tone carried an edge that made me pause. Confused, I asked, "For what?" She replied matter-of-factly, "To pay for dinner." I froze, caught off guard. "Wait, you want me to cover everyone's dinner?" I asked, incredulous. "Yes," she said sharply. "It's just dinner with my family. You're my husband. This shouldn't even be a discussion." I took a deep breath, trying to keep calm. "Emma, no, I'm not paying for this. It's way too expensive, and I never agreed to it." Her expression shifted, her eyes narrowing and her cheeks flushing with anger. "So, you're just going to humiliate me in front of my family?" she hissed. "I'm not humiliating you," I said firmly, my voice steady. "You're the one putting me in this awkward position." Before I could finish, she grabbed her wine glass and threw the contents in my face. The cold wine felt like a slap, and the entire restaurant fell silent as the liquid dripped from my hair and soaked my shirt. Something snapped inside me. I stood up, and before I could process what I was doing, I slapped her. The sound echoed, and Emma gasped, clutching her cheek as tears streamed down her face. What happened next was chaos. Emma began crying and screaming, drawing the attention of every diner. Her father stood abruptly, storming toward me. "How dare you lay a hand on my daughter?" he shouted, his voice booming with fury. The rage in his eyes was unmistakable, and I knew I had just crossed an irreversible line. I turned and walked out of the restaurant, my heart racing. Behind me, I could still hear Emma's sobs and her father's angry shouts echoing in the background. When I got home, I sat in silence, replaying the entire night in my mind. Shame washed over me for losing control, but another part of me couldn't ignore the sense of betrayal. She had crossed a line, and I felt backed into a corner. I waited for Emma to come home that night, but she never did. The next day, I tried calling her, but there was no response. I sent her a message, apologizing for my actions, but also explaining how disrespected I felt. Still, there was no reply. By the third day, the silence told me what I needed to know. She wasn't coming back. Strangely, I felt an odd sense of relief. Deep down, I realized this wasn't what marriage was supposed to feel like. Yes, I had made a terrible mistake, but I couldn't ignore how humiliated and cornered I'd felt in that restaurant. Love and respect shouldn't coexist with such pain. With clarity I hadn't expected, I made a decision. I reached out to a lawyer and began filing for divorce. I resolved to keep it simple. No drama, no games, just what the law required. Once the paperwork was finalized, I packed up her belongings, left them with a mutual friend, and blocked her number. I didn't want any more arguments, apologies, or reminders of that disastrous night. Now, sitting here reflecting on everything, I've come to accept that some things simply aren't meant to be. We both made mistakes that night, but we also brought out the worst in each other. Maybe it was better this way. Two people walking away before a toxic situation consumed them entirely. As I close this chapter of my life, I'm determined never to let anger or pride control me again. It was a painful lesson, but one that will stay with me forever, guiding me toward a better version of myself. Thank you for watching today's story. For more meaningful stories, please subscribe to our channel. See you in the next stories.